Hey there everyone, and welcome back to another weekly reading vlog. I am really excited for this week's TBR because I want to do a new release Romantasy reading vlog, so let's talk about the TBR. First and foremost, I want to pick up Lore of the Wilds by Annalisa Barana. This is a newer Romantasy pick, obviously, but I'm really looking forward to it because it has a magical library element, and I think that's just going to be so much fun. And since this one is a library book, I'm going to be picking it up first. Next, I want to pick up Where the Dark Stands Still by A.B. Poranek. I actually have no idea what this one is about, but I have seen amazing reviews on this already on Goodreads and just really high praises for it. So I am definitely going to make this one a priority to get to this week as well. And then if I just happen to cruise through two Romantasy books, which I mean is possible, it's not unheard of, but I want to pick up A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. I believe this is a fantasy based on Norse-inspired mythology, so I am really interested in this one. I think it came out in January, and everybody has said really great things about it, so I want to pick it up. I want to know what the hype is about. So those are the three books for this vlog. I am obviously a little bit delusional because there is no way that I'm going to finish 3 books in a week, but a girl can hope. And these are books too that I would really love to see another creator do a vlog of because I'm very curious about them, so I want to provide that for you all. The reason I'm a little bit more delusional this week is because my husband is actually going on a work trip for most of this week, so that means I have a little bit more free time to get some serious reading done, and I definitely look forward to that. I will miss him, obviously, dearly, but I am very excited for some alone time and being showered in bed by 7. So that's that. We still have grad school this week. Obviously, tonight we have book club. We did not read anything between now and when we met on Wednesday last week, so nothing is getting really discussed there. We're just meeting up to hang out, but we still call it book club. But yeah, so let's go get into this vlog, and I will update you all once I have a bit of an update on Lore of the Wilds. Tuesday evening now. We have done all of the things today. We went to Barnes, we did some grad school work, and I just finished walking and reading, so I feel like I can give you all an update now on Lore of the Wilds and kind of what that whole story is about. But first and foremost, let's talk about the haul. So there was a new release today. There were actually 2 new releases today that I really wanted to acquire. The first one was actually my book of the month pick, and so that one was 5 Broken Blades by Mai Corland, and I am so excited about this one. It sounds genuinely so interesting. So this story follows 5 like super dangerous liars in the land who have all come together to kill the king. The king has it coming, so it makes it a little bit better, but now they each are coming in and they agree that he needs to die, but they don't necessarily trust each other either, so they have to figure out how to keep themselves alive, and then at the end of this whole mission, only one of them can get the crown. So I think that it's just going to be so much fun. I love this kind of like bring the scary people in, bring in the people who aren't normally as noble because they are going to get the job done, and also having just that bit of morally grayness to them. I just think it's going to be really, really good. So this was my book of the month pick, and actually the only book that I got this month from book of the month, which is extremely surprising because I swear every single month I get more than 1 book, but this one just did it for me this month. And then the second book that I was super excited about that came out today was Sweet Nightmares by Tracy Wolff. This one has like super fun sprayed edges, and it's a YA fantasy read, and it's focused on the school. So it's an academic setting, but it's for the paranormals who have gone rogue. So like the werewolves, the witches, the vampires who have all kind of done wrong and acted out in society get sent to this school. So obviously it's very dangerous, and our main female character is the daughter of the like head person of the school. So she always has a target on her back, and so on a normal day it's hard to keep like everything under control, but during a power outage, all bets are off and she has to try to stay alive. I just think that this sounds so good because, like, the academic setting, we're always focusing on the people who are super scholarly or the really, really good ones, but this is for like the people who are not that way. They are the ones who act out. They're the ones who want to be known as the bad boy or whatever. So I think it's going to be so interesting, and this like power outage, all bets are off. I think there's also a bit of a romance in here as well, but I think I'm way more interested in the power outage and the like the bad of the bad. So I can't wait for this one. So those are the two releases that I was really excited about today, but naturally when I was in Barnes, I saw some other books and I kind of validated it, or I guess justified it by saying that it's my Mother's Day present from Scoot. So let's talk about the two other books I picked up. So the first one was Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose, and this one is so cool because it has like a cassette tape element to it. So you have like the storage case for it, and I just think that that is so neat. Getting it back in is kind of hard though. Okay, but last summer I read The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose and loved it. It was so entertaining. The twist at the end was unbelievable, so good. So I am really looking forward to picking this one up. I really don't know what it is, except for the fact that there's a cassette tape element to it. So I can't wait. Or a VHS, I guess. Yeah, something like that. And actually this is funny and I need to show it to you all because it is rated T for thrilling. And then the last book that I picked up was Guild by Raven Kennedy. This is the first book in the Plated Prisoner series, and this series has always kind of interested me, but now they have these really beautiful, like, exclusive editions. So I wanted to go ahead and pick up the first one. It is a King Midas retelling, I believe. So I think it's going to be just interesting. I believe there's going to be a bit of a romance. I don't think with King Midas, but I think that it's going to be interesting, and it's been out for a while. So if any of you all have seen or read this, let me know your thoughts on it. So those are the 4 books that I acquired today, and I am so stoked about all of them, truly. So it was a very good book acquiring day. Now let's talk about the actual reading that I did today. And this is just going to be the longest update, so apologies. Okay, so now I am officially 56 pages into Lore of the Wilds by Annalise Sabrana, and I am intrigued by it so far. I would say I'm not super invested in the story yet, but I am interested. So at the beginning, we're following our main character, Lore. She's a bit orphan. She has her aunt and her uncle, and they all live in this town called Duskmere, which has been surrounded basically by or it's just been isolated. It's just cast out, and the Faes, who are sentries, protect the borders so that they can't get out to the rest of civilization. They don't necessarily know why they were put there, but they know that they are there and they live in a state of poverty. They don't really have much to their names, but they make do. And at the beginning of the book, something tragic happens where a lot of what they have built has been decimated. So through the request of a Fae, Lore ends up going to the Fae city, and she is going to translate and kind of take an inventory of this magical library that the Fae have not been able to step into for over 1,000 years. So hopefully Lore is going to, first she agreed that she would do this if they sent help back to Duskmere to help them rebuild the town. But then second, also hopefully find some type of cure to the curse that has been over her town. So she has a lot to gain here. She is obviously very nervous because she is the only human in Fae territory, and the Faes have not been notably nice. They look very much down upon humans. So she is very much isolated here. but very hopeful to hopefully bring back a tail and then also some money to her family to help them get to a better state. So it is very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing, she has to make some type of allies within this book. So I'm hoping that we'll get to see that in a bit, and then also learning more about why this town was isolated in the first place and how that can be undone. So that was a very long update, but we made it. And now what I'm gonna do is go shower and kind of get ready for the following day. But wow, it is very odd to be by myself right now, but also kind of nice, but also kind of still. So we're gonna go cuddle with Scoot because he had a big day at daycare and is definitely missing his dad. And we will get back to reading. So I will see you all in a bit. Howdy everyone, it is Wednesday afternoon now and I am very much excited for this evening because I need to do grad school work. We are going to try to work out. We are definitely going to try to keep reading, so there is a lot of things to be done. I don't have much of an update on Lore of the Wilds right now, but I did want to say that I started the audiobook for That Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf by Kimberly Lemming, and I am already loving it. It is so much fun. Also, I love Kimberly Lemming's writing because she's not trying to be this like literary masterpiece, right? She is just having a fun time writing and you can definitely tell. I was listening to it at work while I was doing like a mindless task and it was so funny. I was just geeking, like I was just sitting there laughing. But as you can tell by the cover and by the title, this woman named Brie, who owns a cheese shop, very fitting, ends up throwing a love potion at a werewolf, and the werewolf believes that he has imprinted on her and she is his mate. And she feels extremely bad about this because she does not believe that. Like, he is drugged, and one of the side effects of the potion is like intense feelings and he needs to be around her. So he doesn't know if he's actually imprinted. He's convinced that he is imprinted. So he is just wanting to be around Brie all the time, and it's just like the sweetest thing. But he's also a werewolf, so she got really nervous about that because he was in his werewolf form. And so she ran away from him, and so he like chased her to be like, please don't run away from me, and then was like, it gets me excited. I was like, oh my god. It is just so much fun. These books are just absolutely delightful. I think they're just such a good time. And the audiobooks are even funny too because it sounds like you're just having like a casual conversation with your friend because the writing is so casual. And I don't know, it just makes it a really, really good time. So I'm about 30 pages into it, which is probably like 20% of the book because I'm sure it's not actually, yeah, I think it's around 168 pages. So it just won't take any time to get through this, but it is on my May TBR, so I wanted to make sure I got to it, and the audiobook was just the perfect selection for it. And then I also came home to a package. So recently it has gotten to a point where it is stifling hot outside, and my summer outfit, very much like my winter outfit, I like to have my yoga pants, my sweatshirt, and my long like knit socks. In the summer it is calf socks, biker shorts, and big t-shirts. So I was sorely missing out on the bookish t-shirts. So I ordered a couple. So over the next couple of days, you're going to see a few of those come in. Okay. So this is the Salem Book Club. So I don't know about you guys, but I am already pumped for spooky season. I just saw a TikTok recently where they were like, oh, like we're halfway to Halloween. I was like, yes. So I am just stocking up for that. But also Halloween is a state of mind. And so I am just capitalizing on that. I'm not going to feel one bit weird walking around in the summer with my Salem Book Club t-shirt on. So I think that this is so cute, and this is from Chapter Catchers on Etsy. And she has some really cute other shirts too. Actually, she had one and it said frickin' books with like the books like flying around like the frickin' bats, and I just thought it was so adorable. And that's the update. That's where I'm at with my night. So let's get to some grad school work and then some working out, because definitely missed that this morning. But let's up to it. Okay everyone, let's do a bit of a reading update on Lore of the Wilds by Annalisa Brana. I'm pretty sure I gave an overview at the beginning of this about how our main female character, Lore, was in the fairies library because the Fae have been locked out of it for like 1,000 years. And so we got to watch her be in the kingdom and how the Fae reacted to her. And they really do believe that she is like the scum of the earth, basically. So she is feeling extremely isolated, and this task is absolutely monumental because there's just an insane amount of books in there. And so she's looking specifically for like magical books. And so we kind of get to see how she approaches that. And like hypothetically, this should be really good for me, but it just isn't hitting the way that I need it to. I think mainly because it's in third person. I think that if I were more attached to Lore, it would mean more, but I just feel like I'm not. And so then everything else about the plot kind of falls down with it. I don't know. I can't figure out why I can't get into this book. And like it's taking me a lot of time to read. Like I haven't even reached the midway point yet, and it's just kind of a drag. It just isn't that good. It's not really captivating. I mean, it's perfectly fine, but with plot points like this, I would expect it to be excelling. So that's unfortunate. Something has just happened and we are kind of entering a new part of the book. So I am excited to see where it goes from there. And this is really fun because you can't see any of the cover because it is a library book. So maybe it'll get better, but I don't really have my hopes up too much. It's sitting at like a really solid 2.5, 3 stars right now. I would really like to get through a lot of it tonight so that I can start my next read. And I think my next read is going to be A Fate Inked in Blood, because that's more Norse mythology and it's adult fantasy. So I think it'll be different enough from Lore of the Wilds, because Where the Dark Stands Still, from the summary that I've gathered, it's very similar. It doesn't have like a library component, but the main female character has to be like basically an apprentice and serve somebody for like a year. So it just seems really similar, and because I'm not having a good time with this one, I don't necessarily want to jump straight back into a plot that's basically the same thing. So that is my update. Kind of unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. So tonight we are going to again do grad school and walk and read, and that's probably about it. I texted Dylan and I told him basically that I am glad that he's coming back after a couple days, because while this is really nice, it is not sustainable, because while I love routine, my structure right now is extremely rigid and I'm not interacting with anybody after work except for Scoot. So I just feel like he is my variety, my spice of life. So even though I get annoyed sometimes, I'm just like, I'm ready for you to come back and just spice everything up a bit. So let's hop to all those things. Oh, wait, real quick. Update on that time I got drunk and yeeted a love potion at a werewolf. I'm listening to the audiobook, and this is a very funny audiobook to listen to, obviously, because one, the female main character is very witty and she is very funny. Like, I love how Kimberly Lemming just does not care. Like, she is just throwing in these like common phrases, just very informal in her writing, and it just works because it's just a silly, goofy time. But I forgot how funny it is to listen to Spice, and that was very funny. Riding into work this morning, 7 a.m., just blasphemy happening. But I'm still really enjoying my time with it. I think it's just an easygoing, no brain power kind of read. So I think I'm probably about halfway through it at this point, and I'm still having a good time with it. So that's that. If you need very short, quick, spicy romance with fantasy elements, oh, there's a werewolf in this one. We've got the knot back, people. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. My brain is rotting, but it's like candy, so it is what it is. Now, let's go get to what we're gonna get to tonight. Happy Friday all. I am so pumped because the week is officially over, work is donezo, and we are about to head into the weekend. I think tonight is just going to be a fun little movie night because Dill is back, so we are going to have a kind of chill night. But I wanted to give you all a reading update because I did finish Lore of the Wilds by Annalisa Brana, and I'm giving it, I think, 2 to 2.5 stars. Based on my previous updates, you all probably could anticipate a lower rating, but even after like last night and just even into today, it was not good. Like there were parts that were built up and should have been this like very intense task that took 5 pages and was just over and done with like 0 hardships that came with it. And so it was just like the most bizarre thing. I did not like, I guess, like the pacing. Like we really should have spent more times in these situations that were deemed very harrowing, but we did not. We really didn't spend a lot of time on anything. There was like one very spicy scene that I thought was just not needed at all. And the ending, it is the first and I believe a duology, and so obviously it ends off on a cliffhanger, but the way that everything was happening, I was just like, no, like, nope, that's not adding up. No, like you know when there's a twist and you're like, oh, that was a good twist, because like even sometimes you don't see it coming, but like this one there was like no prelude for this kind of twist or what has happened here. So for me, I don't know, this book just did not work, unfortunately. I'm not gonna like dwell too much on it, but I am very glad that I got a library book and did not buy the actual book. So that is Lore of the Wilds. I personally am not going to recommend this one, but if you would like to go check it out, check out the library book first. So with that, I am glad to be done with the first book of this vlog, and now the next book I'm going to pick up is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. So I'm really excited about this one. I think it came out in January, and it's a Norse-inspired fantasy. So I am looking forward to it. I've heard really good things about it, and I'm hoping the hype that I've heard around this one and this author specifically, because it's the author of The Bridge Kingdom, so she already has like, I think it's a YA series under her belt. This is adult, but I've heard really good things about it, so I am really trusting everybody else to not lead me astray with this one. Also, the edges are very pretty. I'm very happy with that, but I feel better about the pages here because I have the Fairy Loot exclusive edition. Hold on. Which looks like this and is extremely stunning, but these pages, I just did not want to open this book at all. Like, I did not want to separate the pages and mess with the stencil work. So, oh yeah, and it's all the way across the top and all the way across the bottom. So it's a very beautiful book. I hope that I like it, because if I end up liking this, if I end up liking it, then I am going to sell this one on Pango and then keep this one for my shelves. But if I dislike this book, then I'm just going to sell both of them. And that is my update. So let's go hop to, I don't actually know what I'm gonna do yet. So let's go figure it out. Good morning, everyone. It is actually Sunday now. I just missed all day yesterday because we were driving around so much and had a ton of errands to do, so I just didn't film anything, but I have a lot of reading updates since I talked to you all last. So first and foremost, I did finish That Time I Got Drunk and Needed a Love Potion at a Werewolf by Kimberly Lemming, and I gave it 4 stars. This This Mead Mishap series is just so cute, like very spicy, but also like it doesn't overpower, I think, the main elements, which are definitely the main female character. She is just always so feisty and fun. I love the female main characters in here. They are just the best. Very funny. I definitely find myself like laughing out loud at their like quick remarks. So if you want just like a fiery main female character, you can definitely find them in Kimberly Lemming's books. But also, I don't know, every time that I talk about this series, I feel like when I've heard it be talked about, everybody's like, oh, like it's all spice. And for me, that isn't the case. I think that it is like obviously a big part of the book, but it doesn't, I mean, like it feels more normal because the plot still carries on. And I loved the lovesick werewolf element. Like it was just so much fun. I think his name was Felix, was a werewolf, and he believed that he had like imprinted on his mate or whatever. So he was really ready to just like dive into this relationship, but she was like, I just knocked you in the head with a love potion. Like, you can't possibly be thinking straight. So she definitely had her hesitations about going into the relationship, but it's a cozy book, so you can probably guess what happens in the end, but it was delightful. So a very good time with this one, and I loved it. Also, for the people who say that it's too much spice, definitely don't read The Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Robert. That is a book. That's where I draw the line on too much spice. Next, I am about 100 pages into A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen, and this is already so captivating. Like, I'm only 100 pages in, and the plot has moved so quickly. Like, like, so much has happened in 100 pages, and I actually love it. It has been really well thought out, and I feel like just progressing, the pacing is just really great, which I appreciate. And our main female character has a very unique kind of, she's the chosen one to unite some people under the leadership of a king. And so she finds herself just kind of being used as a pawn, or like people are trying to fight for her to be on their side or be killed because they would rather have her dead than to be supporting the opposite kingdom, king, whatever it may be. So she is very interesting. Her name's Freya, and she also just wants to fight. She's not super interested in like wifely duties, and I love that for her. And also I will say that there are some things that like made my stomach like lurch a little bit, like hinting at abuse, hinting at non-consent, but it never gets that far, which I really appreciate. Like, I'm good to feel the dread of it, but I don't need to actually see it. So I really, really appreciate that about this book so far, and I hope that it keeps it up just so that I can keep my peace of mind. But yeah, very, very interesting so far. I'm really enjoying my time with it, and it really does fly by. So I'm really excited to see what else this book has in store. Also, I think my tassel looks very much like her hair, which is very fun. And then last update, since my husband and I are running around a lot this weekend, I bought on like Libro FM the audiobook credit for Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. So good. We are absolutely hooked by it. It is like our main female character, Lucy, she has basically run from her small town because she was the only suspect in her best friend's murder, but they never had enough evidence to put her away. So she's just like lived on, but then this podcaster comes out of the blue and wants to kind of uncover the case and see what else he can find out. So all of her past is being kind of dragged back up. She goes back to Texas, which is her hometown, and she has to decide kind of how involved she's going to be in this case, trying to, because she doesn't remember. That's the other thing. She has no idea actually what happened that night. So that's really fun, but the audiobook is so good. The female main character, the narrator for her, fantastic. Like, she is so sarcastic. Like, me and my husband are laughing out loud laughing. So if you need an audiobook to listen to with your husband, my husband has really enjoyed this one. So just keep that in mind. I would recommend. It's very funny, which I appreciate, and also the male narrator does a really good job as well. And the podcast element, I love like the podcast theme song and everything. So That's all been really great. And I also, a couple weeks ago, I listened to None of This Is True by Lisa Joel, and that has a podcast element, but they are very different in terms of plot. So I don't get them confused, or I'm not like comparing one to the other. Like, they are both good in their own regards. So that's my update there. We are 25% of the way into this book, and we are driving for about 3 hours today. So we should get a good chunk into it. And those are all of my reading updates for now. I'm just gonna be driving a lot today, so we'll definitely be focusing on the audiobook, but hopefully I'll get some more time to read A Fate Inked in Blood when I come home back tonight. So I'll keep you all updated, and we'll see how the rest of the day turns out. Also, happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers who might be tuning in. You're very much appreciated. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Now, let's go celebrate my mom. And welcome to the end of the vlog, everyone. I don't think that I updated you all anymore, and that is probably because I did like 3 hours of driving yesterday and then went straight into work today. So it was not very eventful at all, and there weren't a ton of reading updates, but let's talk about what I read in this week's reading vlog. So the two books that we finished in this week's reading vlog was Lore of the Wilds by Annalise Sabrana, and I gave this one 2 stars. You all heard my thoughts about it, and it's just so unfortunate because I feel like the last couple of weeks I've had books where I'm not super thrilled with them. So it makes it a little bit more negative, but also I think this is so important because this has a beautiful Fairy Loot special edition of it, but it is just not that good, unfortunately. I know that that's a very subjective opinion, but I just really feel like it was all over the place. Like, none of the romances were fleshed out. The plot moved awkwardly, I would say, because these really big tasks were not, like, there were no trials to them. Like, our human female main character did not struggle to do literally anything, and it was just very hard to watch because it just seems so unbelievable. In the end, honestly, I'm still confused about it, so that didn't get any better over time, and I'm just not going to continue on with this series. So not my favorite. Hopefully that provides some context around it. Next, I finished the audiobook for That Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf by Kimberly Lemming, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. These books are just such a fun, silly time. Like, you should not have huge expectations of them. It sounds like the voice is very casual. There is no, I would say, like, literary prose to it. You are just getting a silly, goofy time. It almost sounds like your best friend is just talking to you, and that's how this story is portrayed. But I loved a good lovesick werewolf. That was delightful. I thought that he was so much fun. He was just very obsessed with our female main character. And our female main character, I really enjoyed her because she was, one, absolutely hilarious, and then two, was very hesitant to really act on anything with him because she felt like the side effects of the love potion were really clouding his judgment, and I just appreciate the consent that she was thinking about the whole time. So we love Brie, we love getting consent, so that was just absolutely lovely. And I will say that this book, I didn't like the plot as much as I liked the previous book, but it still, I felt like, was really good. So yes, overall 4 stars, and I will be continuing on with this series because there's only one more book and I'll be so sad when it's over. The audiobook that my husband and I are listening to still is Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera, and we are about 190 some pages into it, and it is just absolutely phenomenal. Like, this is a top tier audiobook. We are so invested in it and are having such a good time with it. The voice is so funny. Like, our main female character Lucy is so sarcastic, and her voice just drips with sarcasm, which makes it even more enjoyable. So I'm really enjoying this, and the fact that she doesn't really remember the night that her best friend was murdered. So we are slowly kind of watching everybody else's alibis within the town, and then I'm assuming at some point we'll find something out. And I'm really excited to see what it is because genuinely I have no idea. And then lastly, my current read is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. And I'll say that I'm having a really good time with it. I'm about 230 pages in, so probably more than halfway. But absolutely so much fun. The pacing is phenomenal. Our main female character, I love that she wants to fight instead of doing her wifely duties. I think that that's lovely. And I also love that nothing is ever too bad. Like, it's not as dark as maybe it's leading up to be, which I really appreciate because you just don't need the darkness. And yeah, that's just not my preference. So it's really nice that I didn't have to like get myself like sick to my stomach to read this. So I'm really enjoying it still. I think it's going to be a great time. I'm interested to see where it ends and also to know when the next book is coming out. And those are all the books that I ended up reading in this vlog. I'm very proud of myself because I did read 2 of my library books, which I just love it when I do that. And then these other 2 are also, my current reads are really, really good. So I'm enjoying them a ton. And that is all for this week. This was obviously a really good reading week for me. If you all follow along, I do not normally read this much in a week, but I just happen to have a good one. So I'm going to take it as a win and then hopefully next week do the same, but we'll see. Anyways, let me know what you all ended up reading this week, and if you ended up reading any of the books that I read in this vlog, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And if not, hopefully I will see you all in the next weekly reading vlog. Bye!